This super simple tool website makes over $120,000 a month. And if you give me the next few minutes, I'll show you how to make it from start to finish. And no, it won't require any coding. This is pickerwheel.com, and it's just a simple wheel that you can spin to help you make decisions. You just simply input your different choices into the wheel and then simply click spin, and it randomly decides a winner for you. According to the available site data on both SimilarWeb and Ahrefs, the calculation for this site's monthly traffic, and this is a conservative calculation, is about $120,000 a month. And it's done by displaying Google ads like these on the main page. Google Adsense allows advertisers to pay the site owner a certain dollar amount per 1,000 visitors to display ads on this website. This is also known as cost per milli, and it's a really passive way to make money online. But this is not easy. I refuse to spew some bullshit about how easy it is to make money like this online just to get you to watch my video, because the truth is, it's just not. Making the website and displaying ads on it is easy, but generating that much traffic to make that much revenue is very hard. According to SimilarWeb and Ahrefs, this site gets anywhere between 2.6 and 4.7 million visitors each month, but it is possible. What's up? My name is Dale, and I've been teaching people how to build professional websites for 10 years. So today I'm going to show you how to set up a website with a custom domain name and hosting. I'll show you how to build the wheel application with a super easy AI prompt. So that means no coding. And then we'll embed it within your site with Elementor. And I'll show you how to sign up for Google Adsense and place ads on your site. So to do this, just go ahead and click on the first link down in the description, or you can come up here and type in createaprowebsite.com/hostinger. And I actually switched from being an affiliate with a different hosting company over to Hostinger because I genuinely tried them all, and I thought Hostinger was really just the fastest and the easiest platform to use, especially for beginners. And with this coupon code, you're going to be getting a 78% discount, which is awesome. And it also pays me a small commission, which is great for making these free tutorials. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody. So just go ahead and click Claim Deal, and then it's going to bring you down here to choose your plan. So you can go with just like a premium plan, which is just $269 a month, or you can do the business, which is going to include up to 50 websites. You're going to get a free CDN, which basically just kind of optimizes the speed on your website, which I think is super handy. But if you just want to start with the premium and just do the one website, you actually get up to 25 websites here. You can do that, but I'm going to go ahead and choose the business plan. And then here you can choose your period of billing. So you can do just 1 month, or obviously the more that you do is going to be cheaper. So if you just want to start with 1 month, you can do that. It's going to be about $14 a month. But I say if you're going to get your domain for 12 months anyway, which is the shortest that you get a domain name, you might as well get your web hosting for 12 months as well and just have that match up. Plus, you do get a free domain if you do a 12-month plan or longer. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then just make sure that your coupon code here is applied, which it is. And then just go ahead and click Continue. Now it's going to ask you to register for an account if you don't have one already. So just go ahead and do that. I already have one, so I'm just going to log in. Okay, then it's just going to ask you to put in your billing info, and obviously I have mine blurred here because this is my personal info, but you just go ahead and put yours in and then click Continue, and then it's just going to ask you to put in your payment, so I'm going to do that right now, and then just click Submit Payment. All right, and then your payment's done, and then you can just wait for this to count down, or you can just click Get Started. And then it's just going to take us through a couple questions. What we want to do here is just create a new website, and then click Next. And then it's just going to ask you if you want to use WordPress or Hostinger's website builder to build your website. We're going to go ahead and just use WordPress and then click Next. So now step number 2 is to install WordPress. So we're just going to go ahead and create some login details here for our WordPress account. So I'm going to keep my email the same, and then I'm just going to create a new password and then just go ahead and click Next. And then from here, we're actually going to choose neither of these. We're just going to click Create Blank Site. And then here is where we are going to get our domain name. And again, if you went with the 12-month period, you'll have 1 free domain available. So let's go ahead and look for our domain. So my app is going to be called Wheel of Choice, sort of like the picker wheel. But Wheel of Choice is actually taken. If we type that in, you can see here, wheelofchoice.com. It's going to ask me if I own this domain, which I don't. So I'm actually going to add a the in the beginning and do thewheelofchoice.com, and then just go ahead and click on it and then click Next. And then it's going to ask you to register your new domain. So we should automatically have all of our contact details in here. And then we'll just click finish registration. Cool. Now it's finishing our registration and it's going to set up WordPress for us. Oh, but first it is going to ask us where our target audience is located. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to pick where I'm more closely located in. Honestly, even just Massachusetts is fine if you're in the US. This really doesn't matter a ton. So we're just going to go ahead and click install WordPress. Cool. Now WordPress is installing. So just give this a few minutes. And here we are inside of WordPress. So over here, you're just going to have your tools, which you're going to use to manage your website. And then in this area is where you're going to visually edit it. It's pretty simple. And don't be alarmed if you see kind of a weird looking URL up here. Your website is just propagating with your new URL, and this is just sort of a temporary placeholder. It can take up to 24 hours to do that. Usually it's only like an hour or two, so you will see this change eventually. So step number 3 is to install a theme and plugins. So we're going to be using Elementor in order to build our website, which is a really easy drag and drop software so that you don't have to do any HTML coding or anything like that. And it goes really well with the Astra theme. So let's go ahead and go get that theme first. So just go over to Appearance and then go to Themes. And then we're just going to go up to Add Theme. And then just over here in the search bar, we're just going to type in Astra. And then you can see it right here. So just go ahead and click Install. Astra is just the best theme. And then we're going to go ahead and click Activate. Cool. So just like that, we've activated Astra. Now we need to go get Elementor. So we're going to go over to Plugins and then go to Add Plugin. And then in the search bar, we're just going to type in Elementor. And then you're going to see it right over here, Elementor Website Builder. Just go ahead and click Install Now. And then click Activate. And for a bonus tip, if you do want some extra tools for Elementor, you can just go up here to Add Plugin. And then in the search bar, we're just going to type in Elementor again. Actually, we're going to do Elementor Essential Add-ons, like this. And then you'll see Essential Add-ons for Elementor right here. And then you can just go ahead and install that as well. And then click Activate. It just gives us some extra tools to work with. So now that we've got everything installed, we need to go ahead and get our homepage set up so that we can start editing it. Because currently, if we just go ahead and click on our site up here, you will see that all we really have is this one blog post called Hello World, and this is not what we want. So let's just go ahead and go back to WordPress, and then we're going to come down to Pages and go to All Pages, and then we can scroll down and you can see we really only have one page right here, which is our privacy policy, which you can just go ahead and trash. We can always start a new one later. So we want no pages. And then what we're going to do is just go up here to Add Page, and then you can just go ahead and click out of this. And then in the title, we're just going to type in homepage, just like that. And then we can go ahead and click Publish, and then Publish again. So now that we've got that, we can just go back to WordPress over here. And then we'll just go back over to our site up here. And then we're just going to click on Customize. So now this menu is for Astra. So this is for customizing your theme. So what we're going to do is just go over to Homepage Settings. And then we're going to change this from our latest post, which is what this is, to just a static page. And then we can just select it here, which we'll select Homepage, which we just created, which is just a blank page, just like that. And now we can go ahead and click on Publish. And then we can just click the X to go back to our homepage. And then we're just going to click on Edit Page. And then from here, we can just go ahead and turn off the title here so that homepage won't even show. And then what we can do is just click on Save. And then go ahead and click on Edit with Elementor. Cool. So now we can just go ahead and click the X to get rid of this little tutorial. This will also show you your layers over here. I don't even really like to use it, so I also click the X on that as well. So Elementor is super easy to use. You can literally just click this plus button, and you can start a new flex box. And we'll just choose the main one over here. It's just one big box across the screen. And then from here, you can literally just click this plus button, and you can drag in heading text. You can do the plus button again. You can drag in like a video or an image. They're all just these little widgets here, and it's super easy to use. And you can actually just click right on the screen and just change this text just like that. And then obviously you can edit it here with the style. You can choose the alignment, the typography of that text, and what color it is down here. This is all super easy to use in Elementor, which is why I love this plugin. But for now, we're actually not going to edit any of this until we have our web app first. So we're just going to go ahead and click on the X to get rid of that section. So let's just go ahead and click Publish to save our work. Okay, so now step number 4 is to build a web app with Loveable. So we're going to use Loveable to build our web app. I don't know how to code. I assume maybe you don't either, but either way, it's a lot easier to just have AI create this app. So to do that, you can just click on the link down in the description, or you can just go up here and type in Loveable.dev. And here's where you can build something with Loveable. Now, I'm already signed in, but if not, you will have 5 free credits, but I do recommend getting the plan because otherwise you only get, if we go over to our plans and billing here, with the free plan, it's $0 a month, but you only get 5 credits and your project is going to be public. I just did the $25 a month. It gets you 100 credits, which is plenty to work with it to get the app that you want. And it's also a private project. So I just went ahead and did that. But if you want to try the free version out first, go ahead. It will be public, but you can still use it. So here's where we're just going to type in our prompt, which I've already written up right here. So this says, I'd like to create a simple, fun web app very similar to pickerwheel.com. The core functionality should allow users to input a list of items, spin a virtual wheel, and randomly select one item. The app should have an engaging, colorful spinning animation, sound effects, and an easy way for users to customize their list. I want it to be mobile friendly and lightweight. I also want it to have a transparent background. Now that is optional. I find it a lot easier to have a transparent background so that in Elementor, we can change the background color at will anytime that we want without having to use a credit with Loveable to then ask it to change the background color. So I just went ahead and put that in. So we're going to go ahead and just take this prompt and we're going to put it in here and then just click the little arrow button. And then it's going to take you to this work window here, and then it's just going to build your app for you, just like that. And here is our finished app. Now, obviously, it does have a transparent background, so you're not going to see everything on it. So just kind of going back to an earlier version, you can see that we've got our boxes here, and you can just sort of enter your text right here, and just click plus, and it will add it to the wheel, and then you can just click spin. And then it will just spin and randomly choose a winner. And I did add this little confetti effect as well and the sound effects in my next prompt. So if you want, you can do that all in your first prompt as well. This is why I recommend getting the paid version of this because you will end up using a few credits to kind of get it right where you want it. But it did take me a few times to get the fully transparent background. So I'm just going to scroll down to that. And this is our final one. So what we're going to do is just click on Publish, and then you can publish it in here. I already have, so I'm just going to update it. But what this will do is publish your project into its own little URL here. So mine is just whirlofwhimsy.loveable.app. You don't actually have to change this name at all. It's not even going to show up when we embed this on our website. I actually recommend keeping it the same because you can break it if you change the name sometimes. So we can just go ahead and click on that, and it's going to bring us to our app in its own URL, just like this. And now step number 5 is to embed the app on your site. So to do this, we're going to go back over to WordPress, and here we are still inside of Elementor. And if you're not, just go to your pages and then go to your home page and just edit with Elementor, and that should bring you right back here. And what we're going to do is create a box for the app to be embedded in. So we're just going to click on the plus button and then click Flexbox, and then just choose this structure right here. And then what we're going to do is go over to the plus button to add an element. And in the search bar, we're just going to type in shortcode, and we're going to choose the little shortcode widget, and we're just going to drag that right in there. So now what we're going to do is take this little code here, which I will put this in the description so that you don't have to type all this out. You can just go to the description and find this. So we're going to take this and copy it, and then we're going to bring it in here and paste it in our shortcode. And you'll see the app come up right here. Now what you're going to want to do is change it from my app to yours. So you can see my URL right here. You're going to want to change that to yours. And if you do end up with this sort of scroll bar here and it's not quite big enough, You can adjust the height here, so you could set it at 700, and that might make it a little bit bigger. Let's try maybe 750. Yeah, so now I've got my whole app in here without any scroll bar on the side. So just go ahead and edit the height here. But this code is pretty short and sweet, but I wouldn't mess with it anything other than the height and your URL. And now we can move on to step number 6, which is to edit your homepage and header. So the first thing I want to do is put a background in here because obviously you can't actually see anything or use this app the way that it is. So I'm going to go up to my section up here and click on these 6 little dots here for the container. And then I'm going to go over to Style. And this is how easy Elementor is to use. So you can click Classic under background type, and then you can just choose a solid color if you want, just like that. But if you want, you can do a gradient, a video, or a slideshow. For this, I'm just going to do a gradient. So I'm going to click on that. And then you can adjust your 2 colors here. So I'll make this bottom one just like a little bit more pink maybe. Kind of like that. And then you can adjust the angle here as well, which is kind of hard to see it adjusting. I'm going to make these a little bit darker. Cool. And now you have a background just like that. And if you do want to add a little bit of space around this app, what you can do is just go over to Advanced. And again, we are still on our container with these 6 dots. And you can go over to Padding and just unlink these values. And then you can just kind of add some padding to the top, just like that. Maybe we'll do like 30, and then maybe a little bit to the bottom, maybe like 20. And you can see even in edit mode, our app still works, which is cool. So now I'm going to edit my website to be just like pickerwheel.com, where it's kind of got this little tutorial for how to use it below here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick and just fast forward through since I don't want to bore you with all of that. Okay, so I've used Elementor to build out the rest of my website with like a little tutorial, share section, and then just kind of more fun ideas. And I separated these into sections. So you've got the wheel of choice section here, which is what it is. And then you've got the tutorial section, which is this big one, and then the share section. And the reason I did that was because when you click on these 6 dots and you go over to advanced, I gave this a custom CSS ID, which is called what is, but you can call it whatever you want. And again, same with this, I gave it how to use. And what we're going to do is go up to edit our header up here, and we're going to add a menu with buttons that will link to those, and it will jump down to that section, and it will just kind of line up with each one that you choose. And then we're just going to go over to this little Elementor symbol here, and then we're going to exit to WordPress. And then just click on the WordPress symbol again. And then we're going to go ahead and click on our site up here. And again, this URL is going to change to our custom URL after the site propagates. So let's go ahead and click Customize because our header is with Astra. So we're just going to go over to Header right here. And then you can go to Site Title and Logo here, and you can put in a custom logo and replace this ugly mess right here. But I don't currently have a logo, so I'm just going to go ahead and type in Wheel of Choice right here. And then you can just come up and click on the pencil icon next to your little homepage button here. And here is where we can edit a new menu. So we're just going to click on Configure Menu from here. And then for primary menu, we're not going to have one in this list yet, so we need to create a new one. So we're just going to click on Create a New Menu. And then we're going to make sure that primary menu is checked because this is the space for a primary menu. And then we can also just name that primary menu and then click Next. And then from here we can add items. So instead of doing pages, which is what we have now, we're going to do custom links right here. So just open up custom links. And then for this first one, we are going to say, what is wheel of choice? And then for the URL, instead of putting a URL in here, we're going to do hashtag and then what is, which is the same matching CSS ID that we gave to our what is section. And all I did was put a hashtag in front of it, which is very important. And then just click Add to Menu. And then if I hide the controls down here, you can see that that now added that to our header. So I'm just going to go ahead and add all the rest and just go through this quickly. Okay, so now I have my primary menu done, and whenever I click on these, it will just kind of drop down to whichever section I linked it to. So let's just go ahead and click publish. And there's one more thing regarding mobile editing that I want to show you with Elementor really quick. So let's just go ahead and click the X, and then we can just click on edit with Elementor. And from here, we just want to check that our website is going to be mobile responsive. So up here at the top, you'll see the desktop, the tablet, and the mobile. So you can just click on the mobile, and then you can kind of get a feel for what your website looks like on mobile, which this is not looking so hot. We need to fix it. So essentially, anything that you edit that has this little mobile picture on it, this little icon, is only going to edit that for mobile, and it won't touch that setting for desktop. So I'll just show you really quick for this section. I'll go to advanced, and I'm just going to edit the padding for this section. So I'm just going to increase this a little bit so it looks a little bit more like that. And then whenever I go back to desktop, it's still the way that it was before. Okay, cool. Just wanted to show you that before we move on. So now step number 7 is to sign up for Google AdSense. Google AdSense is how we are going to end up displaying ads on our website, on the sides or underneath our app. It's how we're going to make money with this. So make sure to click publish, and then we're just going to go over to Google AdSense, which is at adsense.google.com/start. And I will also put that in the description. And then you're just going to go ahead and click on sign up, and then you're just going to choose an email. And it's going to ask you if you want to continue with this Google account. I'm going to say yes. And then it's just going to ask you to put in your website. So I'm just going to paste that in right here. And then you can just say yes or no, depending on if you want help with AdSense or not. I'm just going to go ahead and say no. And then I'm just going to agree to the terms and then click start using AdSense. And then it's going to ask you to agree to a few more terms. These are essentially like guidelines for how to use AdSense so that you're not doing it with any malintent. So I'm just going to say yes, I've read and accept, and then continue to AdSense. And here we are inside of your Google AdSense dashboard. Now, step number 8 is to display ads on your site. So in order to do this, we first have to connect our site to Google AdSense. We have to prove that we own this site. So to do that, just go over to your website here and just make sure you click publish before we get out of this. And we're going to go over here to this little symbol and just exit to WordPress. And then just click on the little WordPress symbol again. And then we're going to go down to plugins and then add plugin. And then over in the search bar, we're just going to type in SiteKit, which is by Google AdSense right here, SiteKit by Google Analytics. And we're just going to install now and then click activate. Cool. So now it's been activated and we can just click on start setup. And then we're just going to come down and sign in with Google and then just choose your account and then just click continue. And then up here, you just have to give access for SiteKit to access the websites that you own. So I'm just going to go ahead and just click select all for both of these. And then we're going to go down to continue. And then just go ahead and click on verify. And then you can turn on metrics for your dashboard. I'm going to go ahead and just allow it. And then you can set up your search console as well. Cool. Now, congratulations. We've successfully set up SiteKit. So then you can just click go to my dashboard. Cool. So now that we've hooked up AdSense to our website, we can go back over to Google AdSense over here, and then we can just see how ads are going to look on our site. So you can just go ahead and click on Explore, and then you'll get a little mobile version of your website here, or you can do a desktop version right here. And it's going to say that it can't display our actual app here because it's within an iFrame, but it is still on our site, so do not worry about this. So if you're just starting out, I highly recommend just doing auto ads, because this will automatically place ads on your site where Google thinks they should go, and it's going to optimize for making you the most money. Now, you can do this manually. It's going to take a little bit more work, but you can do it manually, and I will show you how. But auto ads is definitely my recommendation. So there are 2 ways to do this manually, and number 1 is my favorite. So you can actually keep auto ads on, and then if you don't like where any of these ads are placed, like let's say I don't really like this one right at the top here, I can just go ahead and click on this little button, and then that's just going to exclude it. Now it's going to leave, these blue ones are the areas that are left, so those are ones that I do want. And then if it's red, that means it's going to exclude that. And if you want to see all of your excluded areas, you can just click on that right over here, and then it will show them right in this little section here. And if you like that, then you can just click apply to site, and it's that simple. Now, the second method, we're actually going to turn off auto ads, and I'll show you how to just make one ad at a time and choose different ads. So you just go over here to the little X, and then we're just going to discard our changes, or again, if you want auto ads, you can keep that on. And then we're going to go over to ads, and then go to Buy Ad Unit. And then here you can choose which ad you want to go with. This is what I recommend, is the display ads. It's just the one that's going to work best pretty much anywhere on your site. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And then this is kind of an example of what that looks like. And then you can also do like a horizontal one or a vertical. So we could do like a horizontal, and then we're just going to give it a name, like ad unit, let's say manual. And we can give it a number since we're going to do a lot of these, number 1. And then just go down to create. And then you're just going to go ahead and copy this HTML code right here. And then we'll go back to our website. And then we're going to go back to our main homepage. And then we'll just go to edit with Elementor. And then what we're going to do is just type in HTML over here and grab the little HTML widget. And then you can just kind of drop this in anywhere that you want. So I can put that right underneath. And then you just paste your code right in here. And then that will put our display ad right here underneath our app, which it's not going to show right here inside of Elementor. And then you would just click on publish. But I am a big fan of doing auto ads, so I'm just going to get rid of that. And then I'm going to go back here and just turn on my auto ads. Just like this. And then I am just going to get rid of this one at the top here. And then I'm just going to apply to site. And then I'm just going to apply now and then click save. And this can take up to an hour to actually propagate on your site. And if it takes more than an hour, it's because you do have to get approved by Google AdSense first, and they will send you an email whenever that's done. And as an added precaution, even though we've done the SiteKit plugin, I'm also going to come over here to connect my site with AdSense and click Let's Go. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take this code snippet right here and copy it. And then I'm going to go over to my website. And I'm also going to add an HTML block just somewhere in here. It's not actually going to show up, but we're going to paste that code right in here. And then just click on Publish. And then after that, just go back over to Google AdSense, and then you can just tick this box that says I've placed the code, and then click Verify. And then your site is verified. And then you can go ahead and request review. And then it's going to ask you to choose a consent message, and this is just for like the UK and Switzerland. These are kind of the styles of what it looks like. I like this first one here, so then I'm just going to click that and then click Submit. And there you go. Now, it can take a few days to get approved. Some people say it can take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, but in my experience, it's only been a few days. And just like that, our website is done. Now, don't forget, in order to build the amount of traffic that you need to make over 100 grand a month with a site like this, it's going to require a lot of SEO, a lot of backlink building, and a lot of paid or organic promotion. And it won't happen overnight, but it's definitely doable. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. It does a lot for my channel. And speaking of the channel, there's tons of other tutorials on how to build professional websites on there, so feel free to go take a look. And let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Again, my name is Dale from Create a Pro Website, and I'll see you on the next one.